Welcome, folks. X's and Stevos. I am Stevo. We are joined by Coach X, ROB style. How are you doing on that side, brother?
And I'm well. I have zero complaints.
Zero complaints. Well, that for sure makes one of us in this young NFL season. But tonight, we'll talk about it a little bit. Talk about my guys in this segment. And this segment is our first of many of backed up versus coming out, backed up and coming out. So if you're not familiar with the football application of those phrases, I understand you're a little bit curious. What the heck are we talking about? Coach X, the offensive coordinator, director of the Late Show, would you please explain the idea of backed up versus coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, backed up, I'll look at it anywhere from the goal line, maybe coming out to the 10-yard line, coming out maybe from the 10 to 20, depending on how you and your offense runs things. But that in a nutshell.
Yeah, folks. So basically, just like Coach X explained for us, it's your offensive possession starting in rough territory. So when we use it in this context, when we talk about a team that's backed up, we're referring to a team that we feel like is struggling, will struggle, and has some reason to panic. When we just talk about a team that's coming out, in this context. We're talking about a team that maybe it's not looking so great for at this point in time, but we believe there's reason to be confident moving forward. So, the two teams that we're going to chat about tonight is our current city, Pittsburgh Steelers, and my favorite Kansas City Chiefs, the three-time in my lifetime Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Don't forget Coach X. I feel like you did.
Nah, can't forget. I do
Can't
have a short
forget.
memory, but nah, can't forget about that.
All right, Coach X. So I'm going to start us off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know some of
Hmm.
our friends, some of our potential viewers in the future will be curious to see what category I'm putting them in. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers comfortably in the backed up category. I am concerned about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there's a few reasons. I would say the chief reason, pun intended. The chief reason I'm concerned for the Pittsburgh Steelers is not the offense, it is the defense. We talk about teams having an identity and knowing what they can hang their hat on, how they win football games. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers' identity should be defense. That is what they should be able to hang their hat on. I don't think this most recent game against the Seahawks was the absolute worst. I mean, the run game is still looking a little bit sketchy. It's 2 weeks in a row. We're just missing those plays, those splash plays, and obviously that starts with the $40 million man, T.J. Watt. The offensive side, I think there's reason to be concerned. I think there was always reason to be concerned for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rodgers is a plus quarterback in a plus or minus sense, but I'm not sure that he has that. I want to say leadership, although a lot of the quotes from Steelers players, they love him, sure. But like this week, I saw he put one of the young receivers right in the line of fire, blaming an interception on him. And, there's some things I feel like he says or does that suggest a certain personality that I'm not saying is terrible after 2 weeks, but after 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks of adversity, is he that leader? Is he that flag bearer, if you will? Coach X, I turn it over to you, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I would have to say I'm on the opposite side as a certified bona fide Steelers hater. I don't think they're backed up. I think they're in a sweet spot. I know it was a terrible loss. I mean, the blunder on the kickoff was a rookie mistake to say the least. Some things I see that are encouraging about the Steelers, they're actually ranked eighth in offense. And from the last, maybe since the Big Ben era, I can't remember the last time Steelers offense has even been remotely good. It's like, they have a drive or two here and there. They won't score for 2 quarters, and then they'll put something together in the fourth quarter. But they're currently averaging 25.5 yards per game. I mean, points per game, which impressive. But also, total yardage is looking sketch. I mean, it's near the bottom of the league, 27th. Things I'm worried about is a rushing game, averaging a meager 62 yards per game, which is not Steelers football. Again, like you alluded to, like you know the Steelers for great defense and a strong run game. They don't have it, and I'm very surprised the limited use of Jalen Warren. But I say that why I don't feel like we should worry about the Steelers yet is because there's one common denominator, and that's Mike Tomlin. As bad as they may look sometimes, as good as they may look sometimes, they still have Mike Tomlin, and he doesn't miss the playoffs. Sure, do I think they're going to win a playoff game? Probably not. Like I don't believe in them that much, but it would appear similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. Their floor is the AFC Championship game most years. The Steelers' floor for the most part since the Tomlin era has been the wild card round. So I still have pretty good confidence in them, not seeing the year out of the year as bad as I want them to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, folks know we love our Steelers. Folks, we will always remember, regardless of how far this show goes, that our first ever content was just recording and watching the Steelers Ravens playoff game. I hear you, and so I think this conversation really comes down to expectations, right? Like everything's relative to the expectations. There's probably Steeler fans watching this being like, "Yo, this dude Stevo is an idiot. Like I knew we were gonna be bad." But see, I actually didn't. I think I had pretty high hopes for them. I thought they would be pretty competitive. I don't mean competitive in the NFL, I mean competitive near the top of the AFC. I didn't think they were ever a threat to win the North, but I'll say I feel like they're starting to be a threat to not make the playoffs, to not meet that floor, to your point. And here's what I would say, and of course, I want to hear your thoughts, but you bring up the offense and where it ranks in the points. I guess my concern is half of those games, one out of two, is against the New York Jets, which we just saw this weekend is at best an inconsistent team because the night and day that they looked, offense and defense versus the Bills, as opposed to the Steelers, was significant. So I guess what I'm nervous about, the reason I have them in the backed up category is by comparison, I think the Seahawks are that competitive NFC team. I think those two
Mm.
teams are very similar, like in where they fit in each other's respective conferences. The problem is what I saw against the Jets appears to the positives from the Jets game seem to die down just a little bit against the Seahawks, and the negatives from the Jets game, like the run defense, held true. And the Seahawks are a similar
Hmm.
team. They to play defense and run the ball on. So, I of course will turn it back to you as we got the Steelers coming out, ROV style calling the plays, Mike Tomlin at the helm. But I see it's a great point. I love how you brought up the idea of a floor. What I see is a ceiling decreasing. Um, but Coach X, I want you to wrap up the old Pittsburgh Steelers because what I'm loving, and I'm sure our viewers will love, is just how complimentary you're being right now of the black and yellow slash gold, depending on who you ask.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me. Their time is coming. Don't you worry. I have plenty for them in due time. But right now, um, I agree with you. The big, massive concern is the Pittsburgh Steelers have been known for like phenomenal defense. Like them and the Baltimore Ravens historically have been known for great defenses. And right now, they're in the bottom of the league in almost every major category. I have a hard time seeing a Mike Tomlin led team be this poor defensively for the entirety of the season. Will it be top 10? I doubt it. But if they can sneak down to maybe the middle of the pack in the NFL, I think they have a really solid shot. But right now, like you said, it's looking rough. They're giving up 31 and a half big ones a game. Total yards 29th, opponents rushing 28th, opponents passing 25th. Like they are bottom of the barrel, which is very un-Tomlin like, very un-Steelers like. So I definitely see them getting better, making improvements, or it could be a long season for Steelers Nation.
Oh man, go Lurs as always. You know this show, big allies of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, speaking of unlike something, the Kansas City Chiefs have started 0-2 for the first time in I want to say 11 seasons. That's pre
Yep.
Mahomes. I think it's even pre Reed, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the year he got there, a year before. Obviously, folks, the Chiefs are my guys. If I'm thinking the Chiefs are backed up versus coming out, I said it in our video talking about Chiefs Chargers. Is Mahomes upright? Okay, the Chiefs are coming out. I promise. Um, some of this is blind fandom. You know, I'm biased. I'm only human. I'll never claim to be more. And it's a lot of what Coach X was pointing to, Coach X, what you're pointing to with the Steelers. It's like this is a Tomlin ran team, right? Like they're going to figure out the defense because at the end of the day, there's a culture that exists there. They'll settle in nicely. They'll win a couple of those divisional games and find themselves in the playoffs and be a tough out for everybody. You know, and I honestly, I don't have a hard time seeing that. You apply the same logic to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's like the success we've seen from this group. And I know some folks, like when they talk about the Chiefs, they go right to Tyreek Hill, right to Travis Kelce, and you know, when the offense was buzzing. But quite frankly, folks, the Chiefs beat the Eagles and the Niners in Super Bowls with pretty okay, average-ish, above average-ish rosters. They figured out on the defensive end, and I've seen to have lost a little bit of that. But Mahomes has made it happen with minimal support outside, of course, of Travis Kelce in the mind of Andy Reid. It's an interesting time, Coach X, to be a Chiefs fan because I think you know me. Sometimes I'm little bit more on the cynical side, right? But is it being cynical talking about Andy Reid's offense and the way this roster looks? I don't think so. I think this is looking pretty rough. But the reason I got the Chiefs on the coming outside is simply a trust in Mahomes, but also there are reinforcements on the way. Rashee Rice returning from suspension. Rice is was becoming Pat Mahomes' favorite target. Last year, I had him in fantasy. Rob, you remember we were getting ready for the Bills Ravens, Sunday night football game that we were going to, and we were watching something, and I was like, oh man, Rice doesn't have any fantasy points. And then you look at the replay, and Mahomes is kamikaze, ran right into him. You got Kelsey doing the same thing to Worthy this year. I mean, we hate each other. That's how physical the Chiefs are. Um, but I think that's where it really comes back to is there are reinforcements coming on offense. If you give Mahomes a safety blanket or two, there will be points generated. They've shown last year they can be a ball control team as needed. After week one, I was terrified, panicking, pure freak out, pure crash out mode about the defense. This game against the Eagles has honestly put that fire out, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's a great unit, but I think it can, you know, nut up and rise to the occasion. So in terms of backed up versus coming out, I would say the Steelers would be a little bit more on the backed up range. I would have the Chiefs coming on out in ROB style, Coach X. I know you sit on the other side of that scrimmage.
Yeah, so a lot of things you alluded to, but I definitely have them coming backed up for sure. And this is one of the things that makes me feel a little bit more hopeful about the Kansas City Chiefs is one, the defense. It's currently middle of the pack, but Spags always seems to figure it out. Like when he didn't have a lot of youth, hey, he did what he could and made the best out of the defense. I still need to see a few more games to make sure to get a good beat on them, but defensively they're doing okay. Where my biggest concerns come in is offensively. And just to put some things into perspective, I think the injury really hurt the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Like with was that Worthy? Worthy and Travis Kelce running into each other. I think that hurt. I think that shifts a whole entire game plan. So I can understand that when you have a pivotal piece of your offense leave pretty much at the beginning of the game, it shifts everything that you're going to call, and that makes a big difference. The thing that drew some more concern is like the score with the Eagles was tied, I believe it had 10-10, but it was something that felt like off. Like I didn't get, I'm like, man, when are they going to pick it up? I felt like the offensive line is not protecting Pat like they should. Because Pat with Tom, like, I mean, Pat's Pat. Like, it's the reason why he's been, what, six straight AFC championship games, four what Super Bowls, something like that, doing this thing. So offensively, I'm scared, and this is what I'm most afraid of. Pat Mahomes is off to his worst two games in his career. Just to put this in perspective, in 2005, he has an 82 passer rating. In 2024, it was 88.9. 2023, it was 86. But what's more staggering about that, he is right on par with our beloved Sam Darnold. And when you put Pat Mahomes next to Sam Darnold, that can be scary. Two totally different quarterbacks, but that's scary. And going even a bit step above that, they're currently 0-2. If the Chiefs go 0-3 by some miracle, the Giants pull this bad boy off, they are sitting at a 2.4% chance to make the playoffs. That is statistically hard to do within that division. You have a division where you have the Raiders who are playing better. The Chargers, Herbert's looking like who you thought he was this whole time, not me, because I didn't believe in my guy at all. But on top of that, three of their next six games all playoffs teams. They have a dose of, I believe, the Ravens, I believe, what the Lions, and can't remember
Bills
the
are
last one. Maybe
the Bills are somewhere on that schedule. For sure. I don't know the exact order, man, but we've gone from macro to micro views real quick, brother.
But yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. And just yep, they have a combination of the Lions, they got the Commanders, uh, Raiders, Jaguars, and the Bills. Yeah. So it goes Ravens, Jaguar, Lions, Raiders, uh, Commanders, Chiefs. I might have said the Raiders twice, but Jacksonville and the Raiders. So that's why I'm concerned. Like they have a very challenging schedule, and the Chiefs come out here 2-4. I think it's gonna get scary real fast. But they cannot absolutely go 0-3. That's almost doomsday, and I think Arrowhead will set itself on fire.
So it's like we always talk about, who do you really want that quarterback? Patrick Mahomes or Sam Darnold? It's always been a toss up on that front. I'll have you know, I believe it's seven AFC Championship games and five Super Bowl
Ah,
appearances came
there it
Jackson.
is. There it is. Get me
That's right.
right. Get me
That's right.
right.
No, dude, I hear you. So for me, it's so weird to talk about because I want to acknowledge the holes and the flaws and still have this argument of if there's any team, entire NFL that deserves benefit of the doubt, and I won't even say team, if there's any player in the entire NFL that has earned and deserves that benefit of the doubt, it's Patrick Mahomes. And so it's almost like a poison, like feel like we're getting better and we have Patrick. And we'll see if it goes that way, my friend. We'll see. This has been a lot of fun to record. There's a lot more we could talk about on backed up versus coming out, backed up and coming out. Um, we talked about the Steelers. We talked about the Chiefs. We're on opposite ends. Coach X, you think it's looking good for Pittsburgh, or eventually you'll trust them to figure it out. And you're a little bit nervous about my Kansas City Chiefs, and it's interesting that you're wrong on both fronts. But no, I'm just kidding. So. This has been a lot of fun, brother. Anything you want to add to this?
No, not at all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Please comment, like, add your feedback. It really helps us out a lot.
Appreciate y'all. Talk again soon.